Welcome in, college football fans. Thank you so much for tuning in to the First and Long College Football Show. We're going to get to the reaction video that you clicked on here in just a second. But first, I want to get you to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. So that way you know when First and Long is posting content and we can put it in your feed and enjoy college football together this year. College football is just heating up. Join us multiple times a week as we go live and upload videos. We would certainly appreciate it. Enjoy. So, let's get into these games, man. Let's start off with the Michigan at Penn State game. This was the noon marquee matchup, Fox noon kickoff, all that good stuff. Um, and we haven't had a chance to talk about the Jim Harbaugh situation since really everything broke.
Mhm.
So we'll kind of dive into that, but let's talk about the game real quick first. More of the same from Penn State. We see more of the same, and I've heard a lot of people saying, "Well, James Franklin can't win these games. He just can't win these games." And I don't put this on James Franklin necessarily. I mean, look, James Franklin wins the games he's supposed to win, and he typically loses the games that he's not favored to win.
Yep.
I mean, and I don't, so you can't call him overrated, because he does exactly what he's rated to do. Um, and he's up against the two best teams in that conference every year. Now, with all that being said, offensively, man, Penn State is very hard to watch. Don't take any chances. I mean, they finally started to take chances when they absolutely had to at the end of the game, and it paid off several times.
Yeah.
But early in this game, man, it's just like some of the most conservative approaches to offense, and I just you don't give yourself a chance to win that way, and especially against a team like Michigan, who, I mean, was able to put a halt on the run game after the first few drives of the game, and then ended up just giving up on the pass game completely on their side and bringing in extra big bodies and just piling it down Penn State's throat.
Mhm.
Um, Penn State's defense is obviously taking a step up from last year. They gave up 412 yards on the ground to Michigan last year. So all in all, it was a better performance from Penn State this year against Michigan, but the results are really the same. There's no moral victories in that. So I understand why people want to point fingers, but until Drew Aller and this offense agree that it's time to take some chances, they're just limiting themselves, and it's extremely hard to watch, not fun to watch, um, and it was kind of disheartening to see Michigan be able to cram it down their throat, as JJ McCarthy only threw the ball 8 times. I think he was 7 of 8
Mhm.
for the day, and um, with all that being said, Michigan's got a really good defense. Michigan has a really good offensive line. Okay. They've got really good running backs, but it seems like Michigan and Penn State are kind of one and the same, where it doesn't seem like Michigan's got a downfield threat at this point. They basically went into like running a triple option in this game. So I'm wondering in that Ohio State and Michigan matchup that's coming up, and we're not going to break that down today, but um, I'm wondering if Ohio State doesn't have an advantage in the fact that they've got Maserati Marv.
Mhm.
They've got the one player in the game that can stretch the field. Um, Michigan's going to have success running the football; they're very good at it. But I think Ohio State will be able to stop them enough to be in that game and have a chance for Maserati Marv to prove why he's a first round wide receiver, and give Kyle McCord a chance to redeem himself. So this game, I walked away from Penn State feeling the exact same way that I did going into it, and we got to see Michigan a little bit more, and it's an interesting team. They're very unique, and uh, the way that they just went into that offensive mode of we're just going to cram it down your throat was pretty eye opening. What did you think about the game?
Yeah, I think that you're 100% correct in that we didn't learn anything new about Penn State from this game.
No.
Um, I thought that Drew Aller was slightly better than he was against Ohio State, and most of that came with his legs. I thought that he did some good things on the ground. He had 10 rushes for 49 yards. Not a bad day for a quarterback, and
He
I
did
think
run the
that
ball well. He
I
did.
think that he showed some improvement by, when his first, maybe he would get to his second read. When those weren't there, he'd run the ball. He'd step up and run the ball. And I think that gave Michigan some fits. They were able to extend some some drives, on third and fourth down. And Aller kind of used his legs there. I thought he showed some fire, and that was good to see. But ultimately, he's just not where he needs to be right now for Penn State to be the playoff contender that we had kind of thought that they were for a long time. And that they defensively though did show up, and I was impressed. Other than the fact that they knew Michigan was running the football and they weren't able to stop it. They were loading the box. They were given a lot of different blitz packages and doing some things really well. They'd line up six guys on the line of scrimmage, and then they would bring four on the edges and then drop two linebackers in the middle. So they were getting really creative with a lot of their packages, and that was good to see. And it was just a good defensive showing in general. But to your point, Mark, JJ McCarthy had one pass attempt in the second half, and that was negated by a penalty. So on the stat sheet, he shows 0 for 0 in the second half. Which is wild. I mean, they literally said, "Hey," and people have been asking, is Michigan just not showing anything, on film offensively, or do they just not have it? I mean, this game was close enough. I felt like if they had it, they would have went with it, in the passing game, and we didn't see that. So it's interesting. I think that we have more questions about Michigan than we did before, and I don't think that we learned a whole lot from Penn State. They did some good things on the ground, but I think for Penn State at this point, they're pretty much just playing for a New Year's Six bowl.
Yeah. Well, it was an odd decision, I feel like, um, to just bring in the heavies. I mean, they were bringing in defensive tackles to come in and block. Um, just a weird time to do something like that, right? Because the game was close, and but I guess they just felt like that gave them the best chance to win, and that kind of gives you a glimpse at the personality of this Michigan team. Dude,